So imagine you just landed that dream job, right? Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to conquer the corporate world. But then you find out the company is nothing like you pictured. What if the very fabric of your new workplace was, I don't know, an elaborate experiment, and you, the unsuspecting employee, were just a subject?
It sounds like something out of a chilling thriller, doesn't it? But today, we're taking a deep dive into the Zephyr Holdings saga, and we're drawing from what appears to be a truly unique source, an internal narrative account from within the company itself. It's a raw, unfiltered look. A look at how corporate dynamics and human behavior don't just clash, but kind of twist and evolve in truly unexpected ways.
Absolutely. Our mission today is really to unpack the bizarre journey of this new employee, Stephen Jones, as he navigates Zephyr Holdings. We'll explore its peculiar corporate culture, the hidden power structures that influence everything from parking spots to promotions, and the profound, often disturbing impact it has on the people who work there. It's a story that dramatically challenges conventional wisdom about what a company truly is and, what it prioritizes.
Yeah, you'll find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about workplace norms and the subtle, or sometimes not so subtle, ways organizations shape us.
Okay, let's jump right into this then. The absurdity, it hits you immediately with this anecdote that truly sets the tone. The infamous donut debacle.
Mm.
We meet Roger, a sales rep, confronting Elizabeth over a missing donut. Now, it's not just about the donut, is it?
Not at all.
He immediately escalates from, concern over one missing pastry to accusing someone of taking two, because Elizabeth's defensive response somehow implies guilt.
What's truly bizarre here is Roger's instantaneous leap to this analytical breakdown of her reaction. He frames it as debating the assumption. It's wow. Then, almost comically, he declares he doesn't care about the donut at all, only to pivot to, I just wonder why someone felt the need to take two. And then he concludes with, I thought the idea was to improve shareholder value. It's such a disproportionate reaction.
Disproportionate.
But it's a brilliant early window into how even these really trivial office squabbles can be quickly weaponized with corporate jargon. It just reveals deeper power dynamics right away.
And the scene, they reveal so much about the office politics immediately. You've got Holly, a sales assistant, who tries to speak up, but Roger's glare instantly reminds us she has no right to speak up at this point.
Hierarchy.
Meanwhile, Freddie, another sales assistant, wisely keeps his mouth shut while eating his donut. It's this petty, passive-aggressive world, right, where hierarchy is strictly enforced, all masked by this layer of corporate speak.
And adding to this peculiar landscape is Zephyr's relentless branding. The source describes orange and black popping up everywhere: corridors, bathrooms, elevators, reception desks. The lobby's reception desk is described as practically a logo with a sign-in sheet on top. It delivers this blast of orange to your retinas that apparently lingers even after you leave.
Oh.
Yeah, this ubiquitous branding creates an overwhelming sense of corporate omnipresence, almost like the building itself is an extension of the logo. It's designed to seep into your subconscious,
And stepping into that kind of environment must have been quite the shock for a new employee. So how did Stephen Jones, our protagonist, even begin to make sense of this strange corporate world? He arrives with his squeaky business shoes.
Well, his initial observations are just pretty wild. There are these strange status symbols, like a huge prestige attached to ground-level parking spaces.
Ground level. Usually it's the other way around, isn't it? Higher up.
Exactly. And then there's the truly bizarre reverse floor numbering. Level 1 for the CEO is at the top, while the level 20 lobby is at the bottom.
Okay, that's weird.
And this reverse numbering is framed by Freddie, another employee, as motivational to encourage rising up the rankings.
Motivational. Seriously.
It's an interesting psychological trick, I guess. Almost cartoonishly so. I mean, who would seriously think that makes people feel better about being on the bottom floor?
Right. It's completely backwards. And it's not just the numbering. The low status of IT staff, who apparently don't even wear suits, immediately flags certain departments as less important than the corporate hierarchy.
Definitely.
It tells you exactly who matters and who doesn't, just based on parking and suits.
It absolutely does. And then there's Eve Jantis, the beautiful receptionist who greets Jones with the ominous words, "Welcome to the Titanic, Jones."
Welcome to the Titanic. Wow.
What?
What did you make of that ominous welcome? Was Jones's initial interpretation of corporate humor just naivety? Or
Well,
was there something more profound that we, as listeners, can already pick up on?
I think it's probably a bit of both, isn't it? He's trying to fit in, he's new, but he's also walking into this situation completely blind. Yeah. And his early confusion about Zephyr's main purpose is also really striking. He quickly realizes the training packages are just his department's focus. And there's this general unsettling lack of knowledge among employees about what the overall company actually does.
So nobody knows what they're really there for.
Apparently not. People just get used to it, as Holly later points out. It's like everyone's a cog, but no one has any idea what the machine is actually building.
That's unsettling.
Exactly. And this brings us to where the cracks truly begin to appear, revealing the instability and the, well, rather insidious control mechanisms at play within Zephyr. Let's talk about Elizabeth, the sales rep. She has this unique, almost debilitating emotional investment in her sales.
Oh, yeah. The source says she falls in love with her customers, treating each new lead as a handsome stranger.
It describes her giddiness, her desperation, these internal love affairs that cause her immense stress.
And we hear her on the phone with a customer named Bob, using relationship book tactics, practically pleading, "You're my rock. I love that about you. I rely on that with you. You know what I'm talking about. Just to secure a big order."
It's incredibly intense and personal for her.
Yeah, it really speaks volumes about the psychological toll of certain sales cultures or, those intense performance pressures.
It certainly does. And this highlights the unseen system operating underneath. Management textbooks, the source tells us, champion flexible jobs, arguing that long-term employees are so last century.
Right, the whole gig economy idea taken to the extreme.
Exactly. And this contrasts sharply with the old-timer stories of steady jobs that were for life. That idea feels almost quaint now. And that siren song of outsourcing the seductive idea of having no employees isn't just a Zephyr thing, is it?
No, not at all.
It's a philosophy that's permeated so many modern workplaces, often leaving employees feeling like, well, expendable resources rather than valued individuals. It completely overturns that old notion of jobs for life.
It sounds like a truly paranoid corporate environment there. And it ties into this chilling, assiduous mystery, this rival company that suspiciously hires all of Zephyr's ex-employees, leading to this theory that they haven't really left at all. Like, once you leave Zephyr, you're automatically the enemy.
Not just a former colleague, but the opposition. And that climate of control is further emphasized by the chimp story.
Holly's analogy.
Right, about the chimps in a cage trained by electric shocks not to touch a banana. And how new chimps get beaten up by the others just for trying. It's such a vivid illustration of ingrained corporate behaviors and how new ideas or questioning get suppressed within Zephyr. You just conform, or the system and your colleagues will enforce compliance.
And that system gets ruthless. Look at Megan, the PA, getting dismissed. Sydney fires her for these really flimsy reasons like bears on her desk and not achieving goals despite being a PA. And Jones sees this happen directly, unlike Wendell's earlier disappearance where he was just gone one day.
Right.
How does witnessing such a swift, almost arbitrary dismissal impact Stephen Jones? It must have been a huge wake-up call for him.
Oh, absolutely. Because Megan has this moment of profound realization about her own agency, inspired by a motivational speaker.
Fair.
She wonders, why is she spending 40 hours a week sitting at a desk against a wall with nobody to talk to and nothing to do more interesting than rearrange ceramic bears?
That's bleak.
It really is. And it makes the stakes incredibly real for Jones because it shows him just how precarious his own position is. And then a truly catalytic event. The unexpected network blackout.
Right. The whole system just crashes. And this forces managers to actually, talk to each other on phones. And surprisingly, they discover issues get resolved faster without email, which is kind of ironic.
Very ironic. But the truly shocking reveal comes when IT is found to be completely outsourced.
Oh, wow.
And HR can't even contact ex-employees because all their files were on the network.
You're kidding.
Nope. It exposes this profound vulnerability and an alarming lack of internal knowledge, all while highlighting the ironically inefficient efficiency of their outsourced system.
So with all these unsettling cracks appearing, Jones starts his quest for truth. He's growing deeply disillusioned, right?
Definitely.
And he's determined to understand what the company actually does, despite warnings from Freddie and Sydney like, cogs don't need to understand the whole machine.
That's such a classic line.
It really is. But it begs the question, why does Jones persist when others have just given up and conformed?
Good question. Maybe it's just his nature. That innate curiosity perhaps won't let him back down.
Yeah. And that curiosity drives him to the core revelation. Zephyr Holdings isn't just a company. It's a test bed, a kind of laboratory for something called the Omega Management System.
A test bed indeed. It's described as this radical, data-driven framework for ultimate corporate control. Klossman, the CEO, actually reveals his proudest accomplishment. Get this.
What?
Creating a customer-free company.
A customer-free company? How does that even work?
Well, he genuinely believes that customers are vermin because they introduce variation, which he calls the enemy of systems.
Okay, that's pathological.
It's a truly pathological approach to business, designing a company specifically to insulate itself from the very market it supposedly serves.
So the reason for the lack of external purpose is literally a design choice. It's not incompetence, it's intentional.
Exactly. And all of this is monitored through extensive surveillance. We learn about omnipresent security cameras, this level 13 monitoring room.
Level 13, of course.
Of course. And even Megan, the PA, was secretly tracking Jones's movements in a file called jacktivity.txt.
She was tracking him. Wow.
They're watching everything, treating their employees not as people, but as subjects in some kind of open-air prison experiment.
And they're not just watching, they're actively running behavioral experiments, right?
Oh, yeah. There's Project 38011, which tests endurance limits. They constantly change volunteers' task goals, push them to work for extreme durations, leading to aggression and declining dress codes. Like, one guy, Simon Hugges, apparently punches Blake, one of the managers.
Punches a manager. Good grief.
Then there's Project 442, a study on isolating employees from the outside world. The results, what they term dissociative identity disorder, or split personalities between work and home.
That's terrifying. Creating split personalities.
And even subtle stuff like the name experiment that uses only surnames to encourage focus on job function rather than personality.
It's dehumanization by design. Stripping away individuality to maximize system efficiency, it's chilling.
And here's the kicker, the truly bleak outlook on human motivation from their findings. Alpha's data suggests that the whole work-life balance thing is a myth.
How so?
Their data apparently showed that happy employees aren't more productive, they're less.
Less productive, seriously.
Yeah. It's a direct challenge to so much modern HR philosophy, basically suggesting that employee well-being is not just irrelevant, but actively detrimental to the bottom line.
That's deeply cynical.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here is Eve Jantis's role in all of this.
Yeah.
She's not just the receptionist with the ominous welcome.
No, she's an agent of Alpha. She embodies their cynicism and manipulation. She views ethics as mere justifications for actions you were going to take anyway. And she has this pragmatic, almost chilling approach to relationships, stating flatly, you can't date someone who's the same level as you. You have to go up or down.
Wow. So relationships are just strategy too.
Pretty much. Her personal life is even a project. She's monitored, has this lavish wardrobe provided, and her therapist even advises her on how to handle Jones based on Alpha's instructions.
Her therapist is in on it.
Apparently so. Blake assesses her as bloodless, but the most unsettling truth is her cold reveal about their colleagues, Freddie and Holly. They're projects, too.
Projects. What does that mean?
Freddie's file literally says, do not promote no matter what. And Holly apparently just books empty meeting rooms to sit in them. For hours.
Sits in empty rooms. Why?
Who knows? It highlights the deep irony of how Zephyr functions, where the illusion of work seems more important than actual output.
And in a truly gut-wrenching detail, she tells Jones that Megan, the PA who got fired, was so infatuated with you she couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And you didn't notice.
Oof. That's brutal.
It really speaks to the profound dehumanization within Zephyr, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where people's lives and emotions are just data points in an experiment utterly devoid of any genuine connection.
So, armed with all this dark knowledge, Jones decides he has to do something. He orchestrates a rebellion.
Yeah, he distributes this fake staff satisfaction survey.
Very clever.
With incredibly loaded questions, culminating in question 5.
Which is basically asking, if management won't improve things, should we overthrow them and install new leadership?
Exactly. A direct call to action hidden in a survey.
And that's exactly what happens, right? Chaos erupts. Total chaos. There's a scene on level 2 where employees who were previously so docile just burst into senior management offices. The executives are described as completely befuddled, just dragged into the boardroom.
And Freddie, who's been quiet all this time, finally erupts, shouting, "We're not human resources, we're people."
It's such a powerful moment of collective outrage, a visceral reaction to being treated like, well, like resources, not people.
The immediate aftermath sounds like a mix of celebration and anarchy. There's a party, dancing, people actually talking between departments.
Yeah, spontaneous conversations, even in impromptu football games spanning 3 floors.
A football game.
Yes.
Inside.
Apparently. But in stark contrast, there are a few worried employees who feel this sense of dread. They're described as feeling like orphans whose parents' senior management are gone.
So they miss the structure, even the oppressive structure.
It seems so. They're clinging to normalcy, which reveals a deep-seated dependency that the corporate structure had instilled in them.
It's a fascinating insight into how much we can internalize the systems we're part of, even when they're clearly detrimental.
Hmm.
But despite the celebration, there's also the fallout from senior management's final plan, which was crafted just before they fell.
Right, the plan to reduce departments by 70%, creating these hideous new creatures through illogical mergers, like security being grafted onto human resources.
Grafted onto HR. That makes no sense. It sounds like a corporate Frankenstein's monster.
Pretty much. And in this chaos, power shifts rapidly. Roger, the donut guy,
Yeah.
he quickly ascends to manager of staff services. It just shows the fluidity of power in moments of upheaval.
And Holly, the sales assistant who wasn't allowed to speak.
She gets a new ecstatic role running the company gym, which turns out to be a special favor from Roger.
A favor? For what?
For telling him about Elizabeth and the donut way back when.
Oh, come on. It all comes back to the donut.
It seems so. A stark example of how petty favors can be rewarded in the shifting sands of power.
And Elizabeth, the one who fell in love with her customers.
She experiences this profound liberation. Her stress-induced nausea disappears, her weird fixation on Roger fades, and she feels a spring in her step as she realizes she's pregnant and finally escaping Zephyr's toxic influence. She finds not much to miss about the place.
Good for her. A real profound reset.
But for Gretel, the receptionist who took over from Eve, her duty is grim. She's forced to be the face of the mass layoffs that follow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, her compassion is in stark contrast to the dehumanizing process. She's haunted by the feeling of having executed 200 people. It's a heavy burden.
A stark reminder of the human cost, even in a system that tried to eliminate the human variable.
So the rebellion has happened, management is overthrown, but Alpha isn't defeated yet, right?
Not quite. Jones is tasked with restoring the network, the very network that crashed earlier.
Ah, the irony.
But he strategically rewires it so all employees can access Alpha's project files and the camera feeds from level 13. His counter-strategy: total transparency, expose everything.
That's bold. And this exposure leads to Eve's pure frustration and Klausman's grief over his baby, his precious Zephyr experiment being ruined.
Yeah, he's upset his lab got contaminated.
But despite Alpha's protests and threats, the employees, now fully aware they were part of a study, rebel further. They actually storm level 13.
They storm the control room.
Yep. Klausman and Blake are genuinely shocked by the intensity of the Zephyr employee, this new species forged in the fires of their own corporate experimentation.
The experiment kind of backfired spectacularly. And as it unravels, Sydney, the manager who fired Megan,
Yeah. What happens to her?
she tries to leverage her way back into power by applying for senior management or human resources, believing her ruthless traits are actually desirable now.
Seriously, she completely misread the room, didn't she?
Totally. A complete failure to adapt to the new chaotic reality created by the rebellion she helped provoke.
And then the ultimate corporate reset. Human resources, under pressure, issues a new policy.
Which is?
All positions are vacated. Everyone has to reapply for their own jobs or others.
Wait, so it's effectively a mass sacking disguised as reorganization.
Exactly. A brutal move. A corporate scorched earth policy mirroring the very philosophies of expendability that led to the rebellion in the first place.
Wow. So what happens in the aftermath? Where does everyone end up?
Well, 4 months later, we see Jones on the speaking circuit talking about corporate ethics and rebellion.
Okay, makes sense.
And Eve. She's doing the exact same thing, but in Manhattan and charging more.
Of course she is.
She still embodies that ruthless, cynical efficiency of Alpha. She apparently tells audiences, don't piss your workers off so much that they bust into your office and beat the crap out of you. Practical advice, I guess.
Unbelievable. Their continued conversations, mentioned in the source, reveal this lingering ethical ambiguity, right? And the personal toll of it all.
Definitely. And what's truly paradoxical is Eve's shocking confession to Jones that he is a good man and rare.
She calls him a good man after he instigated the overthrow.
Yep. It creates this really complex tension between his destructive actions and her strange admiration. It's a weird validation from someone so cynical. It makes you wonder about the very definition of good in such a messed up context.
Yeah, it really does. And ultimately, we hear Blake's final, brutal honesty to the fired employees. He tells them flat out, you do deserve this, based on a cold cost-to-benefit ratio.
Ouch.
The employees are silent at first, apparently internalizing this message. And then there's this final roar of anger as they fully realize they were just seen as loss-making parts.
God, that's the ultimate human cost of Zephyr's experiment laid bare. They believed the corporate justification before the anger hit.
So we've seen Zephyr Holdings not just as a company, but as this microcosm of power, control, and maybe human resilience.
Yeah, from the initial Donut Gate absurdity to the mass rebellion, it's such a vivid illustration of how the systems we build, even with seemingly rational goals like efficiency, can profoundly shape and distort human behavior.
And it makes you think, what does this mean for your experience in the workplace? Have you ever felt like that chimp in a cage, just following rules that make no sense? Or watched petty office politics escalate into something much larger? Do you ever feel like you have a work self that's totally separate from your home self?
And if companies, maybe not as extreme as Zephyr, but if they truly prioritize shareholder value or efficiency above all else, like Kleisman and Blake suggest, what responsibility do we as individuals have? Do we challenge those systems, or do we just adapt and survive within them?
That's the big question, isn't it? And maybe on a more hopeful note, could a company truly be better, more successful even, if it genuinely prioritized human well-being over just raw productivity?
It's a question Zephyr Holdings certainly never answered.
And perhaps one we're all still grappling with today in our own professional lives. Something to think about.